9 o'clock. I don't even know what time it is anymore. 11 o'clock. Welcome to our Friday CEO talk. And I know we got a bunch more going to be jumping in here pretty quick, but wanted to yeah, how about the nostalgia? And some of you old folks might remember that your daddies listened to a little bit of Roger Miller back in the day. Trisha, did that bring back any memories? I
It made me think about my grandpa.
Yeah, Grandpa. My dad was a Roger Miller. Roger Miller's an old Oklahoma boy. He's from like Wilson, Oklahoma, anyway. But he's a Oklahoma boy. A lot of old Okies sang that anyway. Old school. A lot of country stuff. But Roger Miller, man, I was thinking last night. I was thinking, I always try to get my music ahead of time, and I was thinking, dude, I'm gonna do some old nostalgia. And I'm thinking, what would my dad want to hear? So I played a little bit of Roger Miller for Dad's sake, and King of the Road. And I also got thinking, so before long, we're actually going to take Agent First on the road. I'm going to be doing some road shows, and that might be my theme music, right? King of the Road. I'm going to travel. We're getting Becky and I as soon as we get her retired, which is going to be this year. We're buying us a travel bus, and we're going to put Agents First on it, and we're going to be traveling around the country and hiring, recruiting, and building, and doing all that cool stuff. So that is coming up. Um, within the next few months, and hopefully we'll get that started up. So welcome to our training call. I see we got Joey and Jonah on the call today, and I don't know if they had something special. Daniel is in the hospital this morning, so at least that's what last I heard. So you guys, we're
I
gonna before we end this call,
I am in the hospital.
Daniel,
They are actually, yeah, I'm in the hospital, but I'm here, brother.
okay.
Um they are gonna be jumping in at 12, I think actually.
Well,
That's on me for the veterans training.
okay. Well, they're on early, so they're going to get to hear a little bit. And then if they have something we could do, because I don't know
Sweet.
if they had that time right or not. But let's go ahead and talk about what we got going on this morning. Okay. So Daniel will be saying a prayer for you as a group at the end of this thing, and hopefully you don't die before the end of it. So we can we can pray for you. And but we trust
Thank you.
everything's good, and you're in good hands, man. So anyway,
Absolutely.
we appreciate Daniel, Big Red. So, what do we got going on? I wanted to, Jane, are you on the call yet?
Um, she's not yet here.
MJ. Okay, MJ, reach out to Jane. She is supposed to be presenting today our website, how we're going to get onto the agent resources, what that looks like. And then I'm going to probably turn this over to a couple, introduce Jonah and Joey to you guys here in a second to the rest of our team, because many of you have not had a chance to hear Joey training. Oh my God. I'm telling you, listen, guys, I've done this for, you guys know I've done this for a long time, and I've been around a lot of trainers, and he has some of the best training I've ever seen. Really top-notch stuff. So, and give me a minute to kind of finish out a few things, and I'm going to let them kind of share what they're doing with Agents First and Veterans First program. So, having said that, um, it's been a powerful 2 weeks, guys. This last 2 weeks, from behind the scenes, things you guys don't always see going on, but as a CEO standpoint, we've been working hard on giving you new opportunities. One of those is the New Era Health program that we're rolling out. Actually, this week, we had a training on it yesterday, and very, very powerful. Of what we're going to be able to offer. I've got teams coming on board just because we offered this new era health. I've got teams that are jumping on board with us and wanting to line up and become part of Agents First because we're offering this new product. And so get ready, get excited. That is something totally new. It's going to take us to another level on the health side of it that none of you guys have ever done. If you can offer somebody a 50 to 80% discount, think about this, 50 to 80% discount on their health insurance in a time when what is the number one topic in America today? It's health insurance, right? That's what you Google it, you see what everyone's talking about. That's where everyone's thought and concerns are. Why? Because rates are getting ready to skyrocket even more. And if I can tell you someone, even if I told you 30% savings, let's just keep it down. Who wouldn't at this point, instead of raising your rates, saving you 30%? But we've done the rate quotes and we've seen people 50 to 80% cheaper rates. And if I can get you that without paying any deductible, no out-of-pocket expenses, no doctor copay, you pick any doctor in the United States you want to go to, and you can save that kind of money, who's not going to say yes to that? And then let me ask you another question. Let's say we save them $500 a month because in average, we're saving them at least $500 a month on their health insurance. What if I told you with that $500 you already are spending, you're still going to have better insurance than you currently got. I'm going to save you $500 a month on your insurance. What if I can show you how we can take that $500 a month, put it into my debt elimination program, our DEP, and within 7 years, I'm going to pay off your house, your two cars, all your credit cards, and any debt you have. You'll be debt free in 7 to 8 years, not doing anything different than you're currently doing right now. What do you think about that? And then how many people are going to be like, dude, are you serious? Like, yeah, I'm serious, right? What would retirement look like to you if you had no debt in 7 years? Could you retire earlier, right? And then we're going to show them that program. But you start off with, how do we do that? Finding the money. How do you find the money? You give them an incredible insurance program that we have access to. Guys, it's going to change everything we're doing. Get excited about that. We are currently working out a deal. I've had several of my managers in a meeting with another company that we're looking at called NSS Insurance, the cheapest final expense insurance rate I've seen anywhere. If you run it through Final Expense Quotes or any of these, you will not find one. As a matter of fact, they're about $15 cheaper than Mutual of Omaha a month on average on a 65-year-old male. So crazy, right? They have a program. It's called a final expense or whole life trust that will their rates at the cheaper rate. Think about this cheaper rate. So let's say you get $10,000 insurance policy. The insurance you locked in your same rates, but the value of your policy goes up with inflation, right? So in 10 years from now, instead of having a $10,000 policy, you have an $18,000 policy. It increases as it goes up with inflation. And how many times do you talk to people and they're like, well, 10,000 is good now, but what's it going to be like in 20 years from now? What if I told you you had a policy that raises with inflation? Locked in rates, the cheapest rates. Whenever the trust is set up to whenever that person passes away, the company, the carrier pays instantly. The next day they pay. That's how the trust is set up. They pay the policy. They pay the funeral home out of that policy, and then they negotiate the price down. So they are a concierge service. They get it knocked down to try to save you every dime. And if they can get that funeral at 10,000 and you took out, and now you're at 18,000, they're going to send you the difference. The $8,000 is going to go to your beneficiary. So it's an incredible program. We're rolling that out. And the only thing I'm waiting on now is I'm trying to negotiate a better rate so you guys might make more money. But those are some of the things that we're working on now. It's been a powerful 2 weeks for you guys. Just know that we're always working to put agents first and put you in a better position so you can win. All right. So, hey, Jonah and Joey, why don't you guys say hi to everybody? Introduce yourselves.
What is up, everybody? I guess I'm going first. So, my name is Jonah. If we have not met, I am the Caboom guy. Okay. So, if any of you have ordered Caboom, first of all, appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. If you have not, we need to have a conversation. We need to chat. We need to talk. All right. We've seen way too much success on your team alone to be able to be wasting any more time not having a conversation, not diving into Caboom leads. So also, I want to be your best friend. Okay. Like there are several people on this team that can prove that I am a good time and a fun time. If they say that I'm not, they're lying. So that's
we got video proof that he's a fun guy.
Oof. Yeah, that's been shown on too many calls. Thank you, Daniel Davis. But outside of that, this is fun. This is a relationship. I love hanging out with you guys. I've told many people this, that there is no better team, in my opinion, that I've hung out with, that I've learned from, that I've been a part of. You guys are a family, and truly, like, I'm not even saying this to be punny or brag or whatever, but truly, this is like the agency that truly puts agents first and truly cares about you guys. So you guys are truly in the right place. It's super fun to be here. So if we have not met, please, I want to meet you. Let's hop on a call. Let's whatever. My number's free to all of you guys. I'll drop it in the chat. And then I want to personally introduce my good buddy, Joey. Seriously, one of the best cats you'll ever meet. This guy is not only extremely intelligent when it comes to the insurance space and helping agents win and find success, words, scripting, whatever it may be. Like, some of you have heard some of this and it is gold. But also he's a phenomenal friend, cares about the people he loves. And so I want all of you to be in that inner circle as well. So Joey, show us what you got, brother.
Let's do it.
I care about everybody, not just people that I love, but I care about you guys a little bit more when I love you. So I'm Joey. Just to give you a little background on myself, why I'm involved and why I'm the certified success coach for our team. I have 18 and a half years in forward-facing telesales. I started like a lot of you guys did with a stack of names and numbers of people that didn't even want to talk to me, and I turned that into a career. In 18 and a half years of forward-facing telesales, and the time that most agents have talked to probably 100, 150 people, I probably talked to 1,000. It was all about on to the next one, pulling that slot machine arm, because I know when you play the slots, you never hit the jackpot on the first pull, right?
Right.
And so I had to learn and teach myself a couple of different things. One, I'll share with you now before you realize it during the call. I'm adult ADHD. I'm unmedicated because it takes away my edge as an agent.
Yep.
So with that being said, I had to teach myself how to sit down and lock in for 8 hours of dialing. I'll go over some different tips and stuff like that. But the next thing is that I have learned over 18 years, I'm never talking to the same client twice. Now, if you look at sales handbooks, if you look at the improvement books, they're going to say there's somewhere between 7 and 21 sales archetypes. And that's true. But each of those archetypes has its own unique life experiences and its own mosaic of things that it's battling. So I had to learn to stop being a script and start being a person. At the end of the day, there's two words in what we are, right? Salesperson. Unfortunately, a lot of people coming into this industry that watch online content, that read books, that do all this, they take the person out of it instead of the sales out of it. What I'd like to do today is I want to help one with the follow-up and getting in contact, making sure that you guys have a solid pathway to do it, but then also explain to you how having a conversation rather than pushing a product is really going to help your career grow, right? You'll hear me say this if we ever interact outside of these calls. At the end of the day, those people that don't pick up, those people that hang up on you, those people that don't buy, they're doing you a favor by helping you get to the next person that needs help. But what ends up happening, and I'm sure I've said this to a few of you, but show of hands, a one in the chat. How many of you agree with the fact that every time you pick up that phone and somebody doesn't pick up, or somebody isn't happy to talk to you, or somebody doesn't make it to a policy, the next time you pick up that phone, it's about a pound heavier? Now, we're not all bodybuilders like Daniel. So we can't all pick up a certain amount of pounds, right? When we shift the mindset to focusing on the activity, not the results, and we look at our total number at the end of the day and go, oh crap, I made $300. And we look at that as the focus in planting the seeds and harvesting the crops as they grow, then we really start to understand what we're doing this for. I'm going to say something really convicting here, and I am sorry if it hurts your feelings, but I'm not sorry if it hurts your feelings, because you need to hear it. Yeah. If you are in this industry and you are expecting to make full-time pay and you are working 20 to 30 hours a week, you're in the wrong industry.
Yep.
If you talk to any other industry and somebody is making six figures, and they tell you they work for less than 20 or 30 hours a week, they own the company and somebody else is doing the work for them.
Yeah.
Right now, a lot of us, and I can't say everybody, I don't know everybody's unique situation, but a lot of us aren't in the situation where we have somebody doing our dials and setting appointments for us.
Right.
A lot of us are not in a situation where we have people just coming up and beating down our front door. I'd love that, but I'd kind of be a little concerned because I'm telesales, so if they know where my front door is, that's a problem. So I'm going to go over a couple of tips. You may have heard Cody talk about some of this, but I want to apply my own uniqueness to it. Cody has something he calls the follow-up formula. So I want to cover the agenda real quick, jump into some quick talking points, answer some questions, and then we'll follow through with the rest of the training here. So the follow-up agenda, right? Ultimately, what we are doing in follow-up is really going to be focused on a few different things: speed, consistency, and personalization. Speed, if you're on the right lead flow and you have leads that are letting you know within 30 to 60 seconds that a lead just came in, speed shouldn't be a problem unless you're on the phone with a client. Consistency, that's probably the part where most of us fall short. There was a study done, I believe, by Harvard Business School. I could be wrong. It might have been Limerick. There was a study done that said that if you do not reach a client in the first 5 minutes of them coming in as a lead, it can be anywhere from the 7th to 12th contact before you actually talk to that person. Now, when we say contact, we mean triple dial because we know the science behind a triple dial. It bypasses spam filters. It bypasses unknown callers. A lot of folks don't realize that if you're going straight to voicemail all the time, it's probably because your phone number isn't in their phone. Now, what a lot of agents will do is they'll go, that one went straight to voicemail. It's probably that their phone is off or that they're on do not disturb, so I can't reach them. And they'll give up on that lead until the next time they get to that lead in their dial session. And they'll try it one more time. The first time it goes to voicemail, they give up. Maybe leave a voicemail. But we've interviewed a bunch of agents that work with us, and our most successful agents will call a lead until it either no longer has a pulse or answers the phone and tells them to die. A no answer is not a no. I like to use the analogy of hunting bison, right? There is a reason why the average 150-pound human being is no comparison to a 2,000-pound bison. But bison were hunted out of existence by a bunch of little people, right? It's because no matter what, when a bison, I guess, couldn't look over its shoulder, but when a bison looked behind it, people were on the horizon. We stayed there until the bison slowed down and we caught up. That's the same thing we're doing with clients in their lives. We are sticking with them until they stop running from us. Now, obviously, your lead flow can improve or not improve the opportunity, or the amount of opportunities you're going to have those conversations. But if you are consistent, you have fresh lead flow coming in, we treat it like a funnel, right? We put a little bit of something in the top of the funnel that's thick, it's going to take a while to come out. When you fill the top of that funnel, the pressure from the weight of what is at the top of the funnel pushes the deals out. That is how we look at consistency. If we just continue to pour, it's going to have to come out of the bottom. So with that, power of persistence, like I said, between the 7th and 12th contact is when we're typically reaching folks. So if we're looking at between the 7th and 12th contact, why are we doing it? Well, those first 6 to 11 contacts were keeping us front of mind. They were keeping them looking at their phone, and you've left a voicemail surely over those 7 to 12 messages or 7 to 12 attempts. You've left a voicemail saying who you are. You've sent text messages saying who you are. You've used every approach that they've given you to talk to them. They know your name. They know that your number is associated with you. When they pick up that phone, more often than not, what you get is, hey, no, I'm sorry, I haven't been dodging you. Life's been crazy. They may try to push it off to an appointment. They may not, but that gives us the opportunity to have a conversation. Now, I'm going to jump off of follow-up real quick, getting into those conversations. What Darren is talking about, the presentation style, When you get on that phone with that client on the 12th attempt, they pick up the phone and you say, "Hey, Jim, this is Joey. I'm getting back to you about your request for final expense insurance. Got you at 123 Main Street, and your birthday's 8/23/57. Does that sound about right?" They instantly hear the car salesman in your voice and they lose you.
Yep.
It is a sales call at best. So instead, what we do and what I recommend is we step back and we focus on why the client would want life insurance in the first place. We do that by asking the right questions. So instead, my intro to that call is, "Hey, Jim." "Yeah, Jim." We're double tapping the name because everybody loves to hear their name, right? "Yeah, Jim, this is Joey giving you a call about that survey you just sent into my office. I realized when I set that survey up, I didn't get all the details I needed to get you the information you requested. But," and I say the but before the pause because I don't need an answer. "But while I'm pulling up what I missed, what has you thinking that the coverage or the plans that you've had up until now aren't going to be enough for whoever they listed as their beneficiary, aren't going to be enough for your children in the future?" In that intro, we shift the client's focus to why they filled out the app, what they value and what they fear. What they value is what they've been doing and who they've been trying to protect. And what they fear is the reason they're on this call today, because they feel like whatever they've been doing is not going to be enough. I will never buy anything from you if I don't know that I have a problem, sir. A lot of times, especially when we're dealing with the final expense demographic, they're not really in a social circle that is providing for their families. They're not really in a social circle that is planning and talking about life insurance. A lot of times when we get a client a final expense policy, they're the first person in their immediate circle that's ever bought life insurance. So they aren't talking about, hearing about, and understanding the problem like we do. So why do we jump straight into who we are, what we can do for them, before we actually ask them, what brought you on the call today, right? But in shifting the focus and guiding them, which is what we do as agents, guiding them to the answers we're looking for, we ask very specific questions, right? I'm just going to ask, Darren, you could probably answer this question, but I'd love to hear from the team. How many of your guys' intros sounded like that first one versus that second one?
Quite a few of them, yep.
It's a minor shift,
Yep.
and it seems like it would be almost too easy, right? But people buy from people because they have a problem, and it's our job to show them they have a problem before we tell them how we can fix it. I use the analogy of a crack in the sidewalk in the front of your house. It's ugly. It's inconvenient. If you're not paying attention, you might trip over it, but for the most part, there's nothing you got to do about that crack in the sidewalk. For us as agents, our job is to pour that ice water into it, let that crack freeze and get a lot bigger, and then go, "Oh, don't worry. I pointed out that you have a crack in the sidewalk, but let me show you how I can fix that." And we lay our product over that crack as a bridge. What we're closing is not a policy or a sale. We are closing the gap between where they're at to where they would like their family to be when they pass. Does that sound like what our goal is really when we talk to these clients? Because if it doesn't, we need to shift our focus to fixing client problems, not pushing a product on the client. Darren, was there anything of that previous presentation that you wanted me to continue to cover, or do you want me to jump back into follow-up?
No, it's good. That's if you can ask the agents if there's anything on that they need they get questioned on.
Absolutely. Guys, feel free to unmute. You could use the raise hand emoji, whatever you like. So far, is there any questions on what I've gone over? No, you guys just like watching me take off my jacket, right? No, I'm joking. Okay, so
Yeah.
I've got a script. I sent that over to Daniel. I don't know if he's been able to get that out to everybody or not, but I do have a script that is a lot more conversational that I'd love you guys to learn enough that you don't need it. I think it will help a lot, but jumping back into follow-up, right? So we've talked about speed. We've talked about consistency. That next piece is personalization, right? As we personalize to client, obviously, we can personalize and throw their name in a text message, but that's the standard practice. Any text message coming to them is typically going to be addressing that. Where we can be a little unique is using the information from the lead, regardless of where we got our lead. It should be Caboom, right, Jonah? I see you not looking at me. There we go. Okay, so regardless of where you're getting your leads, regardless of the information, there is something on there that you can use in a conversation that will help you to personalize this. It could be something as simple as, hey, Alan, this is Joey. I'm getting back to you about that survey you just sent in. Tried to call you, but I've had a pretty busy day and I think I've missed you. It looks like you wanted to get something in place to protect your children in the event of a tragedy. Quick question. Were you wanting to just leave enough behind for your burial, or were you also wanting to leave a little bit of I love you money for them? Now, what did I do there? Alan, I would love you to unmute and just tell me what you saw me do there.
You took away the immediate, to me, it felt like you took away the salesy voice, and you just injected immediately what my two concerns could have been.
Correct. And then if you look at the way that I worded the question at the end, now I've given you a trapdoor A or a trapdoor B. You either want the thing that you asked for, or if you respond with the other way, you want more.
People love choices.
Exactly. And they are going to do whatever they can to get more if they can qualify for it. So we have now given them a reason to respond to us. Obviously, life insurance is a reason, but we know that because we know the severity of somebody dying without it. A lot of these folks haven't had to deal with that reason. So we give them a what's in it for me, right? The WIIFM. Cody says it's every client's favorite radio station. What's in it for me? What's in it for you if you respond to this text message, Alan, is you might be able to leave some I love you money for the family too. Wouldn't that be great? It's all about positioning. What we're doing is we're elevating the ability for them to gain something and minimizing the salesmanship of the conversation. Does that make sense to everybody? Any questions on any of that? Jonah,
Excuse me.
Jonah pays me in smoothies to train your team. I hope you guys know that. Anyways, so with that personalization, we want to wrap in what matters to the client. Now, a couple of other tips before I jump onto the next step. These are things that we've learned from some of the tech companies that we partner with, okay? If you are using a CRM, go to contacts.google.com, create yourself a contact card with your CRM phone number, and download that to your computer. If you're not using a CRM, you should just be able to go to your contacts page, find yourself, and share your contact card. I'm sure everybody heard about this new iPhone update that was going to kill telesales and nobody's going to be able to sell over the phone. What's not being advertised is if you send a contact card, you're stored in the temporary files of the phone. And when you call, instead of it saying unknown number or the state that you're from or whatever that may say, instead what it's saying is maybe Alan, maybe Todd, maybe Jim. Now, I'm a lot more likely to answer a call that says maybe Jim than a call that says spam likely.
So,
That is how we mitigate that.
Joey,
But
we just simply send out a contact card or whatever information, a text, any text card.
it has to be a VCF contact card. So it's a virtual contact file. What happens is the major carriers, they will scan the phone for your phone number being in a contact card that is stored in that phone's software. That being said, what they do not skip over is temporary files, because they want to know that, hey, even if I sent Darren my contact card, maybe Darren didn't save it yet, but Darren knows who I am because my contact is stored on his phone. Now, it's not a massive game changer. It's about 8 to 10% of a difference. But 8 to 10% contact rate difference could be the one deal that puts you over profitability. 8 to 10% contact could get you that person that maybe doesn't buy, but they've got a pocket full of people they refer to you. We call those honey holes where we're over here in CA. You could find your honey hole off somebody who didn't buy from you. So understanding that 8 to 10% doesn't feel like a ton of increase, but it takes one to change your week. One.
Hmm.
So if you are not getting notifications for incoming leads, you need to figure out how to get notifications for incoming leads. Caboom will take care of all of that for you. We'll text and email that to you so you know you have a new lead within 30 to 60 seconds of submitting. But if not, if you're dropping age leads into a database or something like that, make sure you have some type of notification that's coming multiple ways to let you know you have a client on the hook, right? I always think of my grandpa fishing. He always had this little bell that he would clip on the end of his fishing pole. That way, if he wasn't paying attention, if he was walking around, if he was doing anything other than fishing when he was fishing, he'd hear that ring and he'd go straight to grabbing that fishing pole, right?
Mhm.
In the same vein, we need to condition ourselves to when we hear that ring, kind of like a boxer, right? As soon as that bell rings, they're moving. We need to be ready, unless we're on the phone with a client, but we're not going to kill a revenue generating activity to get another revenue generating activity started. Finish what you're on. But no, hey, that bell just rang. That means that as soon as I'm done with this, I'm off to the races. And then obviously scheduling your time efficiently. So I've talked to thousands of agents in my career. What I have found is that their sweet spot for final expense calling, and I can say that this is probably my sweet spot as well, is 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. and 3 to 7 p.m. That is their highest contact rate for talking to final expense clients. Now, that doesn't mean contact happens outside of those times, but statistically, the answer rate is higher in those time frames. So if you have to maximize your time and dial for, 6 hours for the day, break it up. Do some service work in between. I'd love you to just say, hey, I'm going to dial from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., but I think we all know the reality of that. That's the top 3% of agents that schedule themselves for 12 to 14 hours. So for those of us who are working 8 to 10, let's make that time matter, right? So when we jump into the follow-up, when we are working on getting somebody on the phone, now, obviously, none of this really applies when we're already on the phone with them. We're going to handle our conversation the way that it should be handled. But getting them on the phone, there are a couple of things that we want to keep in mind when it comes to text messages or emails. That is the fact that we have really a 3-part, maybe a 4-part recipe for that follow-up. The first thing is going to be a hook. Now, this works on sending a video. This works on sending a text message. This works on sending an email, but we need to grab attention immediately. Well, the best way to do that is, hey, I'm getting back to you with that information you requested. Hey, I'm trying to reach you, but it looks like we missed each other. We're creating I've been trying and you're not responding. The next thing is connecting and building rapport. Now, as we connect and we build rapport, but we're not on the phone with the client, there's not a lot of give and take, right? So what we can do there is we can show them we care about why they filled out. Very similar to the text message I recommended for Al. Are you looking to just cover your burial or cremation, or would you like to leave some money behind for your family? I use I love you money. Not everybody says I love you money. I think it maybe just falls into my character. I want to say I love you money. I don't want to say taking care of the burdens until we're on a call, because they want to know that their family is taken care of as an act of love. Then we deliver value. Well, one, we're delivering value with that question, right? But two, we then say, we if they respond to that, then we're saying, hey, I want to make sure I'm available to you. The last thing I want to do is chase you over something that's so important to your family. What day works best for us to connect? Now, if it's on a phone call, we're going to try to close. But if they're responding in a text and an email, We are not trying to qualify the client through text and email. Those are tools to get somebody on the phone. I wish insurance was easy enough that I could just ask you all the qualifying questions, sign you up without ever talking to you on the phone, but then we wouldn't make as much money as we do. They would not pay us if it was that easy. So we deliver that value. Now, once we're on the call, that fourth step, and we're doing these on the call or in a text or an email, but that fourth step is we close confidently by asking for the deal with certainty. I'm going to role play this out. Would anybody love to be my clients? I'm going to pick somebody if nobody wants to be my client. All right, Michelle, we're friends now. You got picked. She turned off her camera and everything?
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. This is how I deliver numbers on a call. Michelle, you don't have to do anything super special. You're just going to be the client, okay?
Okay.
So I've run insurance toolkits or FEX quotes, depending on which software I decided I didn't shoot today. I've got all that information. Michelle, I've got all that information in the system. Now, while that's processing and seeing what they think we can get you taken care of on, help me understand. If God forbid I can't get you an approval today, what's the first phone call that your kids are going to have to make when they find out that you didn't work well?
They're going to have to call family to see if they can get some help.
Now, calling family, you probably know your family better than I do, right? Is there somebody in the family that is prepared to be able to take this over while also helping them recover from losing you? Or are
Probably
they like,
not.
they're probably like a lot of us. There's nobody actually there.
Mhm.
What about friends? Are there people in their lives that you can think of that can help them finance a funeral for you if they can't get the help?
I would hate for them to have to do that.
Completely understandable. Oh, I'm sorry. Michelle, it looks like we actually had a few offers pop up. Go ahead and grab a pen for me. And this is an instruction. This isn't a question. Go ahead and grab a pen for me. Okay, I'm going to give you three numbers. I want you to write them down one on top of the other, like you're making a stack of them. Okay. The
Okay.
first one I want you to write down is $35,000. Right below that, I want you to write 25,000. And then on that bottom number, it's going to be 12,500. Do you have all those written down?
I do.
Okay. Now over to the right in the same order, top to bottom. I want you to write 187, 160, and $100.
Got it.
Okay. The numbers on the left, those are the coverage amounts that the insurance companies are willing to offer you based on the information we shared with us. Which of those checks makes the most sense for me to hand your daughter in the event of something happening to you?
I could probably just afford the one for $100 a month.
Okay. So that $100, you guessed that perfectly. That $100 a month, that is the monthly payment. Now, I got to ask Michelle, because none of this matters if it's not something you can maintain. Is that $100 a month something that you could comfortably afford even if your prescription prices change?
Probably not. I might need some emergency funds too.
So I'd love to make sure that you're taken care of. But again, I don't want to put you into a policy that may not work for you. If I could find something maybe a little bit lower in coverage, but that's closer to about $80 to $90 range, would that help you a little bit?
80 would be perfect.
Okay. Let me take a look at some options. Now, Michelle, if I find one that's $80 a month, I'm just going to ask again. If a prescription price goes up, if your favorite TV channel switches to a new cable network, if, God forbid, your car insurance goes up, is that $80 a month something that you would still comfortably be able to take care of?
Yes.
Great. I'm going to go ahead and get started on the application. Obviously, I would have pulled and got her probably 10 grand. But I'm going to get started on the application, and then we're asking a question immediately. How do you spell your legal name the way it appears on your driver's license? Now, I want to step back and I want to tell you what I did here. You can read again if you want to, Michelle. I want to step back and I want to tell you guys what I did here, okay? Because this is something that not a lot of agents process when they hear me do this. I asked you which policy or which check made the most sense, which coverage, right? I made that a real and tangible thing that they are now picturing their daughter getting a check. I also made them defend the payment twice. Are you sure that that $100 isn't going to change? You're not going to be able to not make it because none of this matters if you can't maintain it. I bumped them down. Now, obviously, would I have loved to push and get it higher? Yes, but I'm not a fan of chargebacks, and I doubt any of you guys are either. This isn't a product where, hey, once you buy it, you're an owner. They can choose to not pay, or they could just not have the money in the account. So we want to position this as, hey, I'm looking out for you, but really we're also covering our butts, right? So we're going to take it down. We'll run an extra quote. It takes us seconds, but it gives us a reality of where they're at. I made her defend the payment twice. And then once she defended the payment twice, why do I need to ask her for the business? I asked her which one she wanted. And then I said, but can you pay that? So then why are we then after that whole presentation saying, okay, great. So did you want to go ahead and get started today? No, she just defended it. And now you created an off-ramp to the highway of a sale. So great, I'm going to get started. No client in the country is going to defend a payment twice, hear you say that you're going to get started on an application and not stop you if they're not buying. But somebody on the fence is not going to say, Todd, please sell me a policy today. I wish they did. And we'll get those every once in a while, but it's rare. So we have to assume that everybody that gets on one of these calls has a problem that they don't want to keep, has the money to be shopping or they wouldn't have filled out an ad, and is going to buy today because nobody wants a problem forever. If we assume that and we speak confidently about that, then they have to tell us, I don't want to move forward. We're the expert on the call, whether we've been selling insurance for 30 days or we've been selling insurance for 30 years. We are the expert on these calls, and if they don't have a policy at all, they don't know how an insurance sales call goes. So they're not expecting what the next step is. I will also reel it back. I could probably add that in here too, Daniel. So I'm going to step back real quick and I'm going to cover the middle of the call. We've done presentation. We've done intro. What about role and purpose? Why are we the person calling? Well, it's pretty simple. We get through the call, we do the intro, we talk about what they're concerned about, we go through that spiel, we ask follow-up questions. Every question that you ask or every response that you get has at least 5 questions you can ask. Who, what, when, where, why? Hey, why is that so important to you? Hey, what happens if you don't do that? Hey, how is your family going to recover in the event that you don't find a plan? We can always ask more, and in asking those questions, it makes them feel like we care a lot more than they thought that we did. And they're going to say something in most of those responses that helps us understand them a little bit. So we've asked the questions, we've gotten the need, we've built the want, we've built value in fixing the problem without talking about the product yet. So then we're going to go into what we do. Well, John, now that I have all that information, and thank you for sharing that one, let me explain to you my role in protecting your family. I'm what they call a licensed broker. What that means is I represent 22 of the best companies in the country that specialize in coverage for folks on a fixed or limited income. Would you say that that's you? Any final expense client? Personally, I think anybody that's not a millionaire is going to say, I'm on a fixed income. Their fix is just probably a little bit, right? Yeah, that's me. Okay, great. My job is simple and pretty fun. I'm just going to get to know you, John. I'm going to ask you some questions about your medical history, any prescriptions you're on, and kind of just get to understand your lifestyle. Once we get all of those details, I'm going to show you some policies that you would likely qualify for today. Once you've picked one, we'll move on to step 2, which is filling out an application to see if we can get that qualification. Once we've filled out that application and sent it in, the insurance companies are going to take over with step number 3. Step number 3, they're going to review the application and match all of our answers up to the social security number at the top. If all of that matches, they're going to give us one of 3 answers. The first answer is an approval. Now, John, I imagine an approval is what you're looking for today, right? Trial closed, guys. Pay attention. I imagine an approval is what you are looking for today. Is that right? Great. In the event of an approval, they're going to charge the bank account at the bottom of the application and your coverage will start. Option number 2, that's a denial. Now, in the event of a denial, I know that sounds scary, but like I told you, I represent 22 companies. I can always go back to the table and find a plan B, C, or D. I'd just like to help you get the policy that you like the most first. Does that sound fair? Yes. No. The third option is going to be a modification. And we're using the client's name throughout this. Now, John, if I told you something was being modified, what would you say is happening? They're going to say, oh, something's being changed. Exactly right. They saw the application and they still want to do business with you. But due to some risk on the application, there's just some changes. The way that works is you're either going to get a little more or a little less coverage for the amount you want to pay each month, or you're going to pay a little more or a little less for the amount of coverage you're looking for. If that's the case, we will hop on another call. We'll go over all of the new terms. And as long as they still make sense, we'll let the insurance company know to get started. Do you have any questions, or does all of that sound fair? And again, I'm asking fairness questions. I'm not asking, does that sound good questions. I'm not asking, do you want to do that? Does all of that sound fair? Because nothing I said is unfair. When they say yes, great. I'm going to jump into some of these questions. If you don't know, please feel free to let me know that you don't know the answer to that. I would rather tell them that we have to look into it than put something in there that might be wrong and might make this process longer for you. Can we agree to that? And it's just a bunch of gaining yeses. So those are my 3 presentation points. Now, continuing with the follow-up framework, I think I've got about 10 more minutes. So I'll also send some information over to you guys as well. But on that hook, some examples. Hey, quick question for you. Right? It brings brevity. It gets you an answer. You can also say, hey, I was thinking about your situation and I wanted to share something important. And then drop some valuable information. Something just came up that could help you. Do you have 30 seconds? Anything that we can do to get them back on the phone. People buy from people they trust. So what we're not going to do is, hey, I just need 2 or 3 minutes to get some information about your health and see what you qualify for. Because if the call goes the way that you want it to, it's not going to be 2 to 3 minutes. But do you have 30 seconds for me to explain to you this new thing that could help you? Once we've explained it, then we say, hey, if you want, I can go ahead and take a look and see if we can get you policy. Then we have changed the purpose of the call and our 30 seconds no longer matters. We've done what we need to deliver in that first 30 seconds. Now we're pushing into, hey, we're going to change what we're doing now. So it's not the same 30-second time frames, but we're going to help you. With that, I'm going to sit down. My boots are killing my feet. We're never checking in. What I mean by that is, hey, we're not sending a text message that's, hey, I'm just following up. Hey, just wanted to get back with you. Instead, we're shifting it to a question that matters. Hey, real quick, Micah, I know that we had connected a while back and we hadn't really made a move just yet. What was your biggest concern about final expense? And it gets them talking about what they were probably scared of when you talked to them in the first place. But we've given them some time to chew, right? We also show empathy, right? Now, I want to make sure that I differentiate. We are empathetic. We are not sympathetic. We can feel for you without feeling with you. We do not let a client's bad situation stop us from fixing it. They have to tell us, I don't want to fix my problem. To the point where I have a breakup text message that I will send a client that says, hey, Alan, I know we talked about that policy, but I haven't heard back from you. I've been trying to reach you for a couple of weeks. Have you given up on protecting your family?
Yes, I want them to suffer.
That's what they have to say, right? And nobody's going to say that. Have you given up on protecting your family? Hey, last thing that I want to do is have to chase after you, but I also wouldn't feel right not getting a yes or no from you. Because if I call you in 3 months and your daughter picks up the phone and says, hey, I'm so glad you called. We can't find any information on dad's life insurance policy. He just passed away. And I have to be the person that tells them, well, I talked to dad about a policy, but he hadn't made a decision. They're going to hate me when I tried to reach you. So if it's a no, I completely understand. I've been doing this long enough that it's not going to hurt my feelings. But if you're still interested, well, I don't want to put you in a situation where something happens before we reconnect. Talk to them about the weight of not doing what they said they were going to do. It is our job to care enough to be direct. That's what I've got for right now, guys. Darren, did you have anything else that we've covered that you want me to jump in on?
No, this is so good. This is so good. Guys, I want you to know the script is going to be emailed to everybody, but we're also, when we're done here, Jane is going to show you, we've added a new feature to our website. It's called Agent Resources, and you've got to register. And once you register, it takes about a day to get for it to go through, clear you. But once you do that, you'll have access to our website, Agent Resources. And all of our trainings will be on there. And I want you to go back and watch us over and over again. Take notes, role play it out, and just until you master it. Anybody have any questions for Joey before he hops off? And Joey, thank you so much, man. You are awesome. They have made a commitment to our Veterans First program. We have decided to solely embrace Kaboom leads with veterans. That's going to be our resource for using our Veterans First program, and we're really excited about that. The fact is that they're listening to what we're having to ask and input. They're building their leads around what we're telling we want them to do, and it's just a great marriage with Kaboom and us with that program. And Joey and Jonah have been a big part of that, so we're grateful. Anybody have something for Jonah before he hops off? Okay.
Okay, join us for veterans training.
Yeah, so that starts. We've got
And
so that starts in about 7 minutes in the Veterans First Room, and they will be in there to join us there. Thank you guys for being on this call. Now, in the meantime,